All right, everybody, welcome to Patriot Pravda podcast. This is show 11, and it's going to be a frustrating one for sure.
So I've heard.
Yeah, so if you want to grab your popcorn or maybe a tissue, if you're that kind of person, also maybe have your mental health physician on standby as well.
Get ready. Just get in that place. I mean, we've kind of reviewed some of this material ourselves, but just be ready. It's a doozy.
Yeah, it's not going to be fun. We'll see how America is rotting. So, join us.
Welcome to Patriot Pravda.
Oh, yeah.
My head's been wet with the midnight dew. I've been down on bended knee, talking to the man from Galilee. He spoke to me in a voice so sweet, I thought I heard the shuffle of angels' feet. He called my name when my heart stood still, when he said, man, go do my will, go tell that long-tongued lie.
All right, we're back, and it is show 11.
Yeah, I do apologize for us being away for so long. It just takes us a while. We got two different lives. We got this kind of life here, and then we got our own personal life and professional life that we deal with. So it's been busy.
Yeah, we got a whole lot of things going on, and we're just glad to be back in the saddle, on the road again, I guess you could say. But yeah.
Well, let's jump right into it. I didn't bring any material today. This is kind of like one of those things that we've just kind of been gathering. Luke mostly has been gathering material and also basically what's based on the news today and yesterday, but also some other things that are going on in the world.
Yeah.
And just kind of giving what would you say, like a bird's eye view from top down, seeing what's going on.
Yeah, I would say it's kind
broad.
of it's a very broad view of just stuff happening around the U.S. that, we typically try to either just grind Rob's gears or my gears, but today we decided to flip that on you guys. So we're going to grind your gears.
We're going to grind all of our gears today.
Everyone is getting it today. So just like I said on a TikTok video once, I'm an equal opportunity destroyer, I guess, when it comes to facts. Also an equal opportunity gear grinder as well. So here we go. So we're going to get started by talking about President Trump and the shenanigans going on in New York City, Alvin Bragg, and that mess. And the funny thing is about that is the FEC wasn't going to go after that. The FBI wasn't going to go after that. The supposed payments to Stormy Daniels. But for whatever reason, this guy's like, hey, this was my campaign promise, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. So
what was the count? 34 count indictment?
Yeah, they said 34, but it's really just a pun not intended, but a trumped up number to make it seem a lot worse than it actually is. It's just a mess. It's going to be a flop. Although I will say, it's been doing great things for Trump's numbers.
I'm sure it has, and that's what, I think, there were some theories about this where it was just like they were wanting to do it this way so that it would get Trump in the spotlight, and that he would be that he would become the Republican nominee.
Yeah. So
that he could be easily bowled over by, because they're working a couple of different angles here. They're working on, the voting thing, where like in Wisconsin, they're trying to get rid of like voter ID laws.
Yeah.
You don't have to have proof of residency. You don't have to have proof of an address. You don't have to have proof of an ID or, things like that.
In California, you don't have to have proof of citizenship.
Yeah. So things like that, where they can just ram through these different, they're doing it. They're playing both hands here. So that they can get those states set up to be perfect Democrat voting areas and ram through, a Democratic or Democrat nominees for whatever, senators, congressmen, your local postmaster, whatever. And so they're trying to do that on one hand, but also get Trump to be the nominee because they think he could be easily bowled over. Whereas I don't think a Ron DeSantis could be, or a Vivek Ramaswamy, I think that's his name.
Oh, yeah. Vivek Ramaswamy.
Ramaswamy, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've heard a couple of interviews with him, and he seems like like he's got his head in the right place, but I don't know. I've never heard of him before.
No, yeah. He's, in my opinion, he's too, I think he's too outclassed by Trump and DeSantis right now.
Probably.
I mean, something could happen. It's still really early.
Yeah, I just don't
Something could happen to where
he
comes out and he's just a superstar.
Maybe.
But I haven't heard too much about him. Didn't really care for his existence before this. Don't really know too much about him now.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about him. But anyway, so there's just speculation that that's what's going on with these, and of course they're really, if on the other hand too, they could be playing a third hand here where they're just trying to stall his campaign and just drag it,
Well, I think that's where the majority of the focus is that they're trying to I think they're just trying to get him off the campaign trail. If they can bog him down in court, that means he's not out there campaigning.
Right. And he's burning up his own personal finances with lawyers and things like that. But money's not really an object to him, I don't think anyway.
Yeah, I mean, not right now, but a couple more years and it's gonna be.
Yeah. So, do you think that today, when it was yesterday, when his motorcade was rolling from Mar-a-Lago to his private planes, and then taking off, they were all black cars.
Yep.
And someone likened it to watching a funeral procession of the America as we knew it. How do you feel about that?
I don't feel like that's accurate.
And I didn't either. I don't think that it really felt like the death of the America that we knew.
So I'll say it this way. I don't feel like that's the death of the America that we knew, because I personally think that's already happened. I think we've gone past the pale and we're trying to fight our way back into it. Or we're trying to get it back. And we've gone well past it.
I mean, you could really say that 2016, 2017, really, I mean, honestly, 2020. I mean, there's so many other different things that have happened.
And I've seen so many videos about this motorcade, and
I'll be honest, I never watched the motorcade. I never watched him get on his plane. I never watched him go down in New York City.
Yeah.
I never watched any of it.
Yeah, I did, and the biggest thing that's frustrated me about the whole motorcade thing that I've been seeing constantly are just the QAnon junk that's coming out about it. And there was this one guy that was breaking down a video I saw today, a video of the motorcade, and he's like, look at that vehicle. That's this, and he's like, he's saying like, oh, these are just Secret Service SUVs. This is this, and this is the presidential limo, and I'm like, what? One, it's not even a limo.
Yeah,
it's just a black Cadillac. Two, it's the wrong model.
I don't think he gets the beast, quote unquote, privileges anymore.
No.
That's for the active duty president. So
right, and then none of the vehicles in the motorcade were a limo. So this guy and it wasn't a presidential motorcade because it wasn't structured properly. Now, ex-presidents do get motorcades and Secret Service transport because they have Secret Service the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
I know this because they were looking to recruit me into the presidential squadron, and so we learned that we would have, certain clearances and know the whereabouts of the president, how the president travels, and things like that. So, people are just talking out of their butts because they're so sold. I'm tired of hearing about just the Q stuff, and it's not even the Q stuff anymore because Q is pretty much quiet. Like I followed it for a little bit, but
I've found that it's a lot of these different news agencies, and I'm talking even conservative news agencies here, like Charlie Kirk Show and Daily Wire. It's just like it became almost an Olympic event. And I understand the significance of Trump getting indicted, But I think, as I was saying, I don't think this is the death of America as we know it. This America has been changing slowly and steadily, and then it's picked up in pace and speed over the last 10 years, especially the last 5 to 6.
Yeah.
It just in degradation, depression, just in depravity.
No one knows who they are anymore.
Yeah, and so this is, it could be a significant date, I guess, but at the same time, this is not the assassination of JFK or the assassination of Lincoln or, Ronald Reagan being shot.
Well, it's not the assassination of presidents, but it's the assassination of our rights.
Yeah, and I can see that for sure. The assassination, if they can do this to a former president of the United States, they can do this to any one of us, type of a thing. But yeah, the different agencies that didn't want to touch it because they'd probably get bogged down in such a quagmire of different avenues, of legal red tape and jargon and political baggage that it wasn't even worth going after. But you're right. Then this prosecutor, or was he a DA?
He's a DA.
DA, okay. This DA just
from Manhattan.
Yeah, and that doesn't surprise me. So, he's just trying to make his political career off of this, but also please a bunch of people in the Democratic Party, and then maybe he'll find himself, a nice cushy job.
He's also upsetting a lot of people in the Democratic Party because there's a lot of people in the Democratic Party that are
like, no, don't do this because you don't know what kind of box you're going to open.
You're making him a martyr is what's happening.
Yeah, and then, a lot of other conservative news agencies are saying, okay, you want to go down this road? Let's go down this road. Let's go play this game. We'll start, indicting people ourselves, Yeah. And quite honestly, I think there's a lot of people that we should have indicted before. I don't think that we should have let the Democrats be the first ones to do this. I think we should have started indicting 6, 7, 8 years ago, maybe even longer than that. We could go back to the 60s.
Yeah, I don't know.
So why? But the rule of law has just been, ignored.
Yeah, it's toilet paper now.
Exactly, and so now all of a sudden the rule of law applies. But the ironic part is about the when he spoke about people coming to town and being unruly. You better behave yourselves. Yeah. We're a law-abiding town. We're a law-abiding citizen. Okay.
Yeah,
sure.
when that guy's been letting felons out of prison.
Okay.
For at least the last year,
and people getting shoved in front of subways.
His whole time in office, he's been letting felons out of prison, not breaking down felony charges to misdemeanor charges. Which in this case, what he's doing with President Trump is that he's taking a misdemeanor charge,
trumping it up to,
and pushing it to be a felony charge.
Yeah, pushing it up to be a felony.
And it's just a great big. Like you said, just a great big quagmire, and it's just people doing for attention. And Trump,
and who knows?
Trump is he's the mud monster.
Yeah, an indictment is just an indictment. It's not. It hasn't even gone to trial. He's just in front of a judge, and his lawyer, probably pled for him not guilty. I didn't hear what when they unsealed the indictment and read off the charges. I don't even know what they are.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, it doesn't even really matter. Honestly, the only thing we know of is like a campaign finance violation, some sort of paperwork violation, which I've also heard is outside the statute of limitations because this is stemming from his 2016 campaign.
Yeah, and the thing is,
we're long past that.
It's outside the statute of limitations 2 ways. It's also not what they're saying it is. It wasn't a campaign finance violation because Trump didn't ask. I forget the name of his
finance manager or
his
campaign
guy.
Finance.
Yeah, but he didn't ask him to pay this girl off. He just did it on his own. He was his lawyer, I guess, is what he was.
Okay.
He was one of his lawyers.
So okay, here's the thing. Did she actually get paid off?
Yes.
Okay.
She got paid off. Got paid, and I guess they signed an NDA. Which, whatever, we knew Trump was Trump.
Yeah, Trump was Trump. Yeah, nobody's perfect. And
I don't like it. I don't condone it. But
I don't either, and I don't worship the ground he walks on either. Because there's a lot of people that really, as soon as they found out he was running for president, and I'm sure the guy's a professional. He's probably one of the best presidents that we've ever had, or at least in a long time. But he's maybe he's turned a new leaf. Maybe he has. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And honestly, I still think he's very much the same old guy, because of all the dumb names he's making up for Ron DeSantis right now. And
yeah, that's the other thing too, is why are those two sort of butting heads in a way.
Yeah, they are, and it's just it's the nature of the beast. They're going to, but I just don't understand. So like with this whole thing going to New York to accept these charges, I think Trump is really going along with it because it is making him a martyr. And so I think in the first few days after Bragg came out and said that he was going to indict Trump made, like, I think it was just in a couple days. It was either a day or just a couple days. He made like $2.5 million from it.
Wow.
So, just, fundraising, saying, look at what they're doing.
Right.
And so he's going along with it because he's making money hand over fist. And so I feel like he's just rolling with it. And then, but he didn't have to roll with it is my thing. I think he's playing the system, and I think and some other folks I listened to have said this. I think he's waiting for them to perp walk him because he knows they want to do that. They want to get that. He knows the left wants to get that video of him in handcuffs being walked by police down some kind of hallway somewhere.
Right.
But he's gonna 3D chess that stuff and make even more money from it. But the left is, just crazy enough to allow it to happen.
Oh, they're just like foaming at the mouth for this, though.
Right.
Because it would just butter their toast to see this happen.
And so, but Trump's going to use it to his advantage because that's what he does. But he didn't have to go. That's here's the thing: is he could have sat his happy behind down in Florida at Mar-a-Lago and said, come get me, because it's just a local DA. It's just a Manhattan DA. They're going to send cops from Manhattan down to Florida, down to Ron DeSantis's home, and say, hey, give us the former president. Are they going to do that? And was Ron DeSantis going to give him up? No, Ron wasn't. He said, I'm not going to sign or accept any kind of extradition order.
Right.
And, good luck, basically, he said. But because Trump wants to look like the victim, he decided he's going to go because it's going to make him more money in the end.
Well, there's also that kind of like, maybe he's looking for that, not just the money, but also looking like that lamb to the slaughter thing.
Well, yeah. So there's that. I also think, and I'm not saying it's all based on greed, I also think there's a certain level of him going to keep some kind of peace in the country.
Could be.
Because I think if he would have stayed in Florida and say New York's not going to send folks down there to bring him back, but what if New York went to the feds and the federal government sent folks down to Florida to try to pull him out? And that would start something.
Yeah, you might have some radicals showing up. I don't know. Hard to say.
But anyways, so it's all a big mess. It's all dumb. Mud is flying everywhere. People are slandering each other all over the place. And, I'm not I don't like, I'm not a huge fan of Ron DeSantis either. I mean, I like both guys. I think both have principles. I'd vote for either one of them. But I'm still just not fully convinced that Ron is as outside the system as he's playing.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, he seems to be doing a lot of good for the state of Florida and cares about children and, the right for parents to know what their children are being taught in schools, or that, certain sexual topics won't be taught up to a certain grade.
Yeah.
He's got some good things going on.
Yeah, he did good with that.
But yeah, that's one thing. It's another thing to be at a federal level, a presidential level, and try to play both sides. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's gonna, God is in control. That's all there is really in the end that, we Christians have to fall on.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of people that want to have control, you know how there was that Trans Day of Vengeance that was supposed to happen?
Yes, I heard something about that.
I just realized the day that it was supposed to happen on, April 1st, because it's a joke.
Uh...
They were supposed to have it. And I think it did kind of get like half canceled, and like there were still people that went, but it wasn't as great as they were trying to make it.
Yeah, what are they avenging? What are they going to do? Are they going? So vengeance is exacting.
It's Trans Day of Vengeance to stop trans genocide, because it's genocide if we don't call you by your pronouns. This is what words have no meaning anymore.
No, they don't.
But yeah, speaking of, we would be remiss if we didn't mention what happened in Nashville, the Christian school there.
Right.
Aubrey Hale, the female shooter, the trans
born female, identified as male.
That decided to who was very troubled. Decided to walk into a Christian elementary school and shoot 3 kids and 3 staff members.
Were there more injuries? I didn't know.
No.
So the 6 people that were shot did all pass away.
Yeah. And so, I just not really sure what to think about it. I mean, let me rephrase that. I know what to think about it. But, after this happened, same old song and dance. People on both sides, but mostly, again, folks on the left saying this is a gun problem. And just so, it's such a deaf and blind argument.
For sure.
That it's such an uninformed argument. But, and so I'm just glad that we live in a place, and I work in a place where I can defend the children that I'm around on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's true.
At least in Alaska, I'm thankful that this is it's not just a stand your ground. It's not. It wouldn't be considered a stand your ground state. I guess technically it could be, but it's if you see someone else being harmed state,
right?
You can go defend someone else's life. If I were to see some lady being attacked by some person on the street, if I feel the need, I'm allowed to defend her life with lethal force.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad to be in a state where someone could do the same for my wife if she was ever in need. And it's a state where we can carry, constitutional carry.
Yep, open carry.
It's a great thing. You can open carry, you can concealed carry, you don't need any special paperwork. And it's just the best thing to be in a free state that I'm really praying stays a free state, even with the folks that we have in government currently. But speaking of what happened in Nashville, there were some interesting bits of information that came out of it.
Have they released the full manifesto yet?
No.
They probably won't.
Not even a bit of it yet. The local PD there did hint that it was planned to happen at this particular place as well, because I guess she tried to go to another place first, saw it was too well guarded, and then went to this location.
Well guarded by whom? Armed individuals?
Yes.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Not even a shot was fired and it was defended.
Mm-hmm. And so, but I guess it was part of her plan to go to this place as well. And they hinted that there are reasons why this place was on her list. She was a former student.
Yeah, I'd heard that. She was a former student there.
Yeah. So a lot of people are saying, oh, the gun laws didn't help it and the gun laws wouldn't change it. Well, if the law was followed, it would have actually made a difference. See, but she wasn't an honest person. No surprise there, in my opinion, that she wasn't an honest person. She lied on whatever form she filled out in order to buy weapons, because you have to write on the form whether or not you're receiving, mental health care for certain things.
Right.
And when you purchase a firearm, and she obviously lied because she was receiving mental health care for certain things, for a mental illness that was severe enough that where she wouldn't have been able to purchase a firearm. If that would have gone into, the database, they would have denied it. She was on lots of medication. She was on hormones and things like that. So that really messes with you as a woman if you're taking testosterone.
Yeah, she got all snarled up. I don't know, how she was as a child. Obviously, I mean, was she troubled as a child? Were there issues? Was she stable? Did something happen, in her teenage years that caused her to go this way? I mean, there's just a myriad of different avenues and approaches as to someone why they go this way, and then they get all tangled up in emotions, and then somebody tells them that they're an opposite sex and this will solve everything, so they start taking all these drugs. And I'm sure for a brief moment in time, you get that feeling of bliss for whatever reason, from because I've heard that once it's about a year or so, the average, you get that feeling of bliss. Yes, this is finally going to work. It's just going to take a little more time. You feel that those new hormones taking effect. Well, then all of a sudden you just start, because there was this one, I'm going to have to look her name up. She's a detransitioner. She was transitioning to a male.
Wait, they exist?
Do they?
Yes.
No, they do.
Yeah, they exist.
Anyway, she was stating that, when she was on testosterone, she would just have, mood swings, outbursts. And testosterone is a heck of a hormone, and, the way that I think actual real biological men deal with it, is you start hitting puberty and you start getting a little bit of testosterone, it starts really ramping up. And that's to be able to, that's God's design to ease you into manhood, to ease you into it, because obviously God created testosterone, designed it. He knows how powerful of a hormone it is. And if you just were, a little kid and then hit puberty and all of a sudden, bam, got a full dose of testosterone, you'd be bouncing off the walls. You'd probably be violent, because there's just so many different things going on in your head and your body. And so with these, I'm not sure what their dosage rate is, but they were giving them quite a big dose.
Yeah, and there's a lot of studies.
Because they're trying to really speed up the process of them becoming, quote unquote, male, or quote unquote becoming male.
Yeah, there's a lot of studies that explain the effect of testosterone on the female body, because we see that effect a lot in female weightlifters, people that are in the gym constantly, and some women in the lifting sport do have to monitor interactions with testosterone and the supplements that they take, because there are ways that it affects the female mind, the female body, and it destroys it. Just like estrogen, you give a man enough estrogen, it creates a lot of issues, brittle bones, certain cancers, things like that.
Right. And it's going into a thing that it wasn't designed to be in that dose.
Right. It's deadly. But hey, let's just let everyone do it. Actually, I kind of want to rabbit trail for a second on this.
Okay.
And so when my wife and I moved up here to Alaska, we moved up from an area in California called Santee, where we both went to college, and this video came out of Santee, and there was a lot of discussion on a lot of local discussion on the things that are happening in California, especially Southern California, and all the trans agenda that's just poisoning the schools, the public school system there, poisoning everybody's way of life in that area, and how it's been affecting local places, local YMCA clubs, local gyms. It's just been horrible. Local nail salons and massage parlors and
every single one of them.
It's just been destroying the I guess you could say the quote unquote trans agenda, although I don't like that phraseology, is destroying just life in that area. And this video came out of a Santee City Council meeting where this man, I think he's a father a father against this kind of ideology, and how it's harming kids, but he he'll kind of explain. The video is of this city council meeting, and this man is having his time to speak to the city council in Santee about things that are going on locally there. And this is what he says.
Wow, here we are trying to figure out what a woman is. It's such a strange time to be alive. So on social media, if you haven't seen today, there is a video kind of going viral. There is this alleged woman that is masturbating in a women's bathroom. So let me clarify. Sorry. This woman has a penis, and she is stroking it in a woman's bathroom. And there's a woman here. If you haven't seen it, guys, it's on Twitter. There's a woman here washing her hands. So if you can make sense of this for me, would you be okay with this? Would you be okay with a man dressed as a woman masturbating in the mirror in a bathroom, in a women's bathroom, and call that man a woman? Because this is where we are right now. We, as people, are starting to recognize you are falling for a ploy within political correctness, and we are urging you to stand for truth. Because if you don't, my children, our children, are subject to your failure. I have an 8-year-old. If this woman was my 8-year-old, if by chance my 8-year-old went into this restroom while I was patiently waiting outside for her, and there's a grown man stroking his penis around my daughter, what do you think I should do as a father whose duty is protecting my children? You're not doing it. Are you doing it, Sheriff? Because you are obligated to detain a man when he goes into a woman's bathroom, are you not? You know what to do. There's no question about it. You need to establish an ordinance to prevent this from happening in this city. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite intense. I've seen the video myself.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's quite graphic. And it begs the question, why? But I don't know if we can answer that, other than he's got a severe case of autogynephilia.
Yeah, and this whole thing is, how many more videos do we need to see? How many more situations do we need to see where, I mean, it's so obvious. They make videos. They made a giant music video with the San Francisco Gay Men's Choir saying, "We're coming for your children."
Yeah, and I heard about that one, and I heard the song.
They played it off as a joke.
They play it off as a joke, but
it's not a joke.
It's not a joke. Yeah, I don't.
Because all this, and I'm going to take everyone to church here for a second.
If it's not a joke, what's NAMBLA?
Right. Well, yeah, I'm going to take everyone to church here for a second, but this is all from Satan. This is all a ploy from hell. And so they are going for the children. They are. And so I think parents need to stop playing around with this and nip it in the bud.
Yeah. You know, if Jesus loved the little children.
Right.
So how much do you think that Satan, the devil, the son of perdition, Beelzebub, hates children?
Exactly. And what he's willing to do to them through others.
If it were not for the grace of God holding back the wickedness that could have been poured out on this earth from the devil and his angels, his demons, we wouldn't have survived. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah. Back from our
rabbit trail.
Anyway, the same, all part of this greater trans issue that is going on in the country. We did have that shooting in Nashville, and we as Americans have been asking ourselves, because of the shooting, again, we find ourselves asking ourselves, what are we going to do about it? And I keep hearing good idea after good idea come out of a community that we're part of.
Yeah.
That people just keep ignoring. Now, I'm also hearing some not so great ideas come out of that same community, but we're going to kind of go into our Let's Grind Rob's Gears section.
Here we go. All right.
And
give me what you got.
So this video is a video of a friend of mine on TikTok, a guy I follow. He's a fellow Marine. His name's Mickey Knuckles, and he's a big biker dude. You know, you think normal biker in any movie biker, he's that guy. He's big, tall, long hair, big mustache, deep voice that can rattle your soul. He's a good guy and a veteran, Marine Corps veteran, and he made a video where he asked how many times does this have to happen for schools and local governments to realize and our federal government to realize that there are hundreds of thousands of veterans that need work that would gladly, put their life on the line to guard schools. And a lot of them would be willing to do it for free. Especially those that are on retirement and have the time could do it.
Right.
Would be more than willing to do it. I know hundreds that would do it. And it's a good point. I don't know why we have such a veteran crisis issue with, homelessness and joblessness in the veteran community. Why don't we do that? Instead of sending an exorbitant amount of money to the Ukraine.
What? Why not?
How about we take, how much money we've sent them so far? Well over $150 billion at this point.
Yeah, the official figure I don't even think is really known.
Why don't we take $2 billion of that and invest it in veterans programs to protect schools? I think that's a great idea. I'm 100% with Mickey on that.
Yeah, I think a lot of the thing is like, it's sad to say this, but as veterans, we're not really trusted by the federal government.
Oh yeah, or the general public.
Yeah, for some reason, I don't. It's hard to say. There's a number of different reasons, and I could go into that, but that's another rabbit trail for another day.
Yeah, but anyway, so Mickey made this video, and then this guy responded. Now, like I said, there are some veterans as well that use their status to join the world in wanting to take our freedoms away from us, completely ignoring their oath of office. And anyways, I'm going to play the video. I want Rob to react to it, and then we'll go from there.
All right.
The guy who made this video also commented on somebody else's video that responded to him. He commented with a bunch of questions that weren't quite up to snuff. I'm going to say it that way. And we're going to answer those questions because they're easy questions to answer. And he's asking them like they're some kind of quantum physics that nobody could figure out. And so why would we even conceive of doing it? Let's continue.
Who are willing to guard these schools for free. We will protect the children.
No, the fuck you won't, and I'm going to tell you why. It's not because I don't believe you. I believe you and every other veteran on this app who has come up saying, I volunteer, send me, and I'll go down there and protect those kids for free. It's very noble of you all, but you all are missing the fucking point. You're not going to go down there because I don't want you there. I don't want to have to send my kids to school in a fucking war zone. I didn't spend all those years in uniform, go overseas and watch my friends get blown up. My wife didn't spend all those years in her uniform and go overseas and watch her friends get blown up so we could bring the fucking war home with us. The American people deserve better than this. They don't deserve to have to send their kids somewhere where they need armed guards. They deserve for veterans like you and me to acknowledge the fact that the gun mentality in this country has gotten out of hand. If our only response to this is, well, I guess we better put armed guards there, then what the fuck did we even serve for?
What? Well, he's all over the road on that one, all over the map. I don't...
Yeah. And that's why I said the emotions came in, lost all kind of brain function and bearing.
Yeah. Okay, let's start from the beginning here.
And
okay, we have guns in this country.
Right.
We have the Second Amendment. We are allowed to have them.
Right. We have a Second Amendment right. And these are rights that were observed by our founding fathers to be given to us by God.
Right.
Our founding fathers didn't give us these rights. They observed that these were unalienable rights that all people have, and therefore ensured their existence as rights. Continue.
So the guns are there. There's a lot of them. A lot of
Yes.
different. There's guns all over the world, but we'll just concentrate on the United States right now.
Yes.
There's always going to be guns. I don't care if tomorrow they say no more guns. They're all banned. Every single one of them. You can't build guns. You can't 3D print guns. You can't buy guns. We're putting Smith & Wesson out of business. We're putting Springfield Armory out of business. You're all done. No more guns will be sold in the United States. Done.
Right.
You must turn in all your guns. And the law-abiding citizens do. The criminals do not.
Right.
Because they're criminals.
Yeah, just like
Okay.
this person that went and shot the school.
So this person that shot the school, obviously, as we discussed before, lied on their application to their background check to get a firearm, made it past that. So what are you saying, that we should have a lie detector test now? Like, okay, if you want to purchase a gun, you need to go down to the police station and talk with detective so-and-so.
No, that's
get
where
a lie detector.
That's too easy.
Oh yeah, people can flunk lie detectors all the time.
Why I'm saying it's too easy is because why do that when they could just make red flag laws?
Right. That's and so then everybody's a criminal at that point.
Yeah, all it takes is your ex-girlfriend to say that you got mad at her one time and yelled at her, raised your voice, and then she's going to report you to the police and say you have guns and she's in fear for her life, and they're going to come take your guns. That's how red flag laws work, folks.
Here's the other thing too. I don't know of any the guns are here. Okay,
right.
Criminals are going to have guns. If somebody gets a wild hair-brained idea to go shoot up a school, sadly, then they're going to do it. And if there's no anybody around there armed, okay, the police, fine, whatever. But they were trying to defund the police earlier anyway, so don't give me that crap. Okay, it's going to take the police. Obviously, there's response time involved. Then they're going to kit up, and God forbid it's another Uvalde situation where they don't want to go in because they're scared.
They just stand in the hallway.
Thank God the Tennessee cops had a little bit more steel down below the belt and went in and took care of the situation. But there was still the response time to deal with. Now, if there had been an armed guard at the school, the response time is 0. They're already there. Yes, they may the perpetrator may get some shots off, but hopefully they'll get put down quick, fast, in a hurry. And if you have multiple armed guards, then the chances of them even getting a shot off fall significantly.
Right.
Let's go into this too, because now my gears are really ground. This guy says he served overseas. Okay, fine. I have no proof. I can't prove that he did or didn't. His wife apparently did. I can't prove that she did or didn't. What war are we bringing back?
Right.
What war zone are we bringing back? Is there an IED? Are we facing IEDs going to school now? Is that what we're doing? Are we fighting radical Muslims, jihadists, whatever? I mean, that didn't look like that to me.
Well, yeah, and
it's not. I mean, I don't know what kind of war zone we're bringing back. The veterans are trained individuals. We were trained how to use firearms safely, efficiently, and so why not put them in the schools? Okay, maybe you want us to have a little bit more education on firearms and rules of engagement. The rules of engagement are definitely going to be different, but. Okay, so that's what, the $2 billion that you say you take from the fund that went to the Ukraine. What if we just took $2 billion of that and just put it aside for veteran training opportunities for school defense or school? I mean, they have school resource officers. Why not make school resource officers school veterans? The school resource officer was all armed,
right? And and where I really kind of couldn't believe this guy. What does it say? On a scale from 1 to 10, I can't. With this guy in particular, was when he said, "Then why do we even fight for anyway?" I was like, "Well, guy, how about the oath of office that you took? You know, when you stood in your little MEPS office and raised your little hand and said that you're going to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. You know, the Constitution that has the Bill of Rights. Yeah, that right to be able
the two A's in there
to defend yourself with a firearm in this country."
So, and here's the other thing too.
That's what you went and fought for.
Yeah, exactly. But also, I don't know. There's been discussion about this. I want to know what he thinks we fought for over there anyway, because there's a lot of debate about that.
Right.
I don't know. I just see it this way. If you don't have people with guns, good guys with guns, who take care of them, who know how to use them, who are trained in them, are legally allowed to have them, based on, obviously in this country, if you're a felon, you cannot own a firearm, which I have some reservations about, but it depends on the kind of felony.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't understand why that would be such a bad thing, because the criminals are always going to have guns. They always, if the criminals see that the good guys are unarmed and vulnerable and they have something that they want to take, in this case, it's children's lives, just for the sheer thought of it, evil, because they're pitiful, wicked, nihilistic, bitter, angry, furious human beings that have been either possessed or just their heart has become as solid as stone and as cold as steel. Unless they're still going to do that. And if there's nobody there to defend it, they're going to do it even more. They're going to do it even more often. It's a wonder there's a school shooting every day.
Yeah, and then this guy, this veteran.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't confirm or deny. I mean, honestly, I don't know. Where's your DD-214?
Yeah, big air quotes. Not Mickey Knuckles, but the guy that responded to him.
Right, yeah.
There was another gentleman that saw his video and responded to him, and he had a good response, and that response was gaining traction. And so this quote veteran, even if he was a veteran, I'm going to say quote veteran, because you've completely gone upside down and backwards from the oath you took.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, you've lost whatever honor came with the oath that you took.
Yeah. I mean, there's some liberal, soldiers out there that I've met and that I'm sure you've met. I mean, I think, during that time you were.
Well,
but not to that extent.
But that's the thing, is like, liberal is one thing. Fully advocating for the taking away of rights is another.
Why don't we take away
You're fully going against what you said you stood for.
Yeah.
Anyways, this guy, because this other guy's video of him was gaining traction, he decided to go on and ask this gentleman a bunch of questions. And he thought they were stumpers. He did.
This is in the comment section, not a response video.
Yeah, this is in the comment section, and he didn't write them all at once. He numbered them, but they're all kind of spread throughout the comment section. I had to go search for all of them. It looks like it might have taken him some time to come up with all of them. But yeah, so question 1, he wrote down. Oh, because the guy in the video that responded to him said that he was a gun-grabbing booty hole. He said, 1, I'm not a gun-grabbing booty hole. He said, I have guns. I never said I wanted to ban them. Yeah, you did. If you want to keep the quote-unquote war zone, you want to keep good guys with guns away from the schools, you're advocating for something that is standing against people having the right to defend themselves. So with firearms. So anyway, he said 2, who is going to vet these volunteer veterans? Who's making sure they don't have mental health history, domestic assault, sexual assault, PTSD? Look, guys,
kind of the same avenue that they do for police officers, I guess.
Well, yeah, but even this, it's not that hard to develop a program to parse through the people,
right,
and figure things out.
They have background checks. You can get a background check for $25 online.
I had to take a background check to work here.
Yeah.
So they knew I was safe around children.
You get a background check almost every job you get anyway. So anyway, moving on.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not rocket science. There's programs for this kind of stuff. Let's see. I'm trying to find question 3. Oh yeah, here we go. It says 3. Politicians are protected by professional security. Who is certifying and training the skills of these volunteer veterans? Bro, they come with skills. 1.
Right.
2, it's not that hard to go to some kind of security training school.
Right.
It's not that hard to develop a training, because we have a training program here. We have security here at this facility that shall remain nameless. And we go through regular security training.
Yeah, drills, I'm sure.
We go through drills in the building that we work in, how we're going to defend the building if things were to pop off, and how we're knowing who's carrying, when they're carrying, who's on duty to guard at what particular time whenever an event's going on. It's not, people do this stuff already. It's not like this is a completely new concept that no one's ever thought of ever before in their life.
Right.
People already do this.
How do you think that they get armed guards, like, okay, so there's a couple of stores in town.
Why do you think security businesses?
Yeah, with high theft, right? So there's several security businesses, and they hire guards, armed guards, especially in the liquor stores downtown, in a couple of different places. They're armed guards, but they're not. They weren't cops. They weren't military. They weren't. That was a job that they picked, that they applied for, that they got approved. They had a background check. They got firearms training. They got approved to carry a weapon in their company that they do, and then they sent them to be that their assigned place of duty was a liquor store.
Right, and like we're saying, these things exist.
Yeah,
this isn't a new concept.
And with that allocation of funds, if that's the way it goes, you could set up a program.
Right.
Even if
it's a volunteer program.
Yeah, the money would pay for the training programs and the vetting programs.
Right. Exactly. Okay, question 4. Who do the guards report to? Who is in control of them? Who's coordinating them? Who has oversight over their behavior and their actions? The people who set up the program? The people who hire them? You would have to staff somebody, at least, to oversee this kind of thing.
And that would be a paid position, but that doesn't matter. I mean, if you get an allocation of funds, like I said, that would be included in that. I mean, you can budget this.
Right. He's asking questions as if things like budgeting don't exist, as if things like security businesses don't exist. Your brain.
Yeah, what he's automatically assuming is that we're just going to go grab our guns, march right down to the nearest high school or elementary school, and post ourselves up in the door.
Right.
That's not what I don't recommend that.
Right. And it's really funny because the next video that Mickey Knuckles made was answering that question, because there were a lot of people in his comments that were saying, well, why don't you just go ahead and do it already then? He's like, you can't do that. You'd get shot. Yeah, he's like, yeah, so you want me, a law-abiding citizen, to walk into a gun-free zone with my firearm and then get in trouble with the police, potentially get shot and killed myself, so you have another headline to use against us law-abiding gun owners? Right. He's like, yeah, we're not, despite what you may think, us law-abiding gun owners aren't that dumb. Anyway, question 5. Who authorizes their lethal force? Cops have policies and procedures to follow. What escalation procedures are they following? Yeah.
There could be an SOP put in place.
Right.
There can be rules of engagement put in place.
Right. So here's an example. When the riots were going on, I should say the race riots. When the race riots were going on in San Diego,
jeez, yeah.
When Black Lives Matter was busy burning down local businesses and local areas in town, I joined a group of folks who were helping defend certain areas, certain local businesses, immigrant-owned businesses that these folks were trying to loot and break into and burn down, and we were defending these businesses. And there was a gentleman who was a paid private security guy who was defending a business that was across the street from where I was posted at the location where I was standing. And I kind of had overwatch over a larger shopping center area because of just the way the terrain is. There was a road that looped up around the shopping center, and then there was a staircase that led up to it from the parking lot of the shopping center where you could walk up that staircase, and you kind of really had oversight over this whole shopping center, and you could report on movement of people like behind the shopping center on that side and around. So it was a good position to stay at. It kind of silhouetted me, and a lot of people drove by me, and a lot of people walked up to me threatening me, but it was a good spot to be. And I felt safe because there was this security guard that was at another business that was across the street from where I was standing. And he, as a paid private security guy, was, licensed to carry spicy air on him, had taser capabilities as well, had a paintball gun that shot spicy air, which is fun, and was most of the night, because of the threat to our lives, was lethally armed and had certain qualifications to where he would have been able to use that lethal force even in the state of California, to defend myself, himself, or the business that he was paid to protect. And so it's like, even in California, these things exist. So it's not a,
yeah,
it's
and they
not
got
a
the
crazy...
tightest, some of the tightest gun laws. If you said that he had to have a permit to carry mace.
So it's not like these things are impossible. Even in the most crazy places where they put the most ridiculous laws out there, there are people that can still do these things.
Right.
Just because you want it outlawed doesn't mean it actually is outlawed. So yeah, but anyway, I actually became good friends with that guy. It was fun. And there was one point where a dude, I'll have to explain it in another episode. Anyway, we'll carry on. I don't want to rabbit trail too much. That was 5. 6. Question 6. How do proper authorities know which ones are the volunteers? Do they have ID markings on them, like armbands or badges or uniforms? Maybe.
No, they're just going to show that what they're going to be dressed in is hoodies with ski masks and black gloves, maybe some weird saying on their sweatshirt or something like that.
Yeah. What's that word? Secure.
Yeah.
Is it secure?
No. They're just going to, they're going to
remember.
look like your standard high school shooter.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to, they're going to all be dressed like Dylan Klebold.
Vans and all. Vans, trench coats and all.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Nope,
All
that's,
right.
yeah. So that's going to be pre-cleared ahead of time, with the local PD.
Like, these questions, it's like, just because they were questions for you, they were hard questions for you to come up with, doesn't mean they're hard questions for everybody else to answer.
Yeah.
But question 7, are they allowed inside the school, or do they roam the perimeter? Are there going to be sandbag emplacements on the roof?
Oh, why?
Why
God? Why God?
Why? I'm like, dude.
Sandbag emplacements on the roof. Is this Iraq?
Apparently.
Well, it's okay. So here's my thoughts on that. I don't think that they should be roaming the perimeter.
No.
And I'll tell you why. Because if there is an active shooter and he's been watching the place, he could technically or possibly intercept the armed guard, put him down before he has a chance to defend the building.
Right. You want
the armed guard
to have an upper hand.
Should be in the building and should do maybe rounds, or there's these things called security cameras where you can be sitting at a desk with computer screens in front of you and you can monitor the doors.
Yeah.
Remotely. It's really cool. You should look into it. Or you can do rounds around the school and then go back to your office and fill out a log with what you did, where you checked on if this door such and such was locked.
Yeah, if anybody, even this guy was in the military, he knows what it's like to stand watch.
What's it called? Tell me what it's called.
Fire watch?
Yeah. Fire guard, fire watch, same thing.
Yeah, fire guard, fire watch.
I was actually talking to the guy. I wanted to see, if he knew what it was.
Yeah, so it's like
or CQ duty or staff duty, where you got to go around and you got to look at the doors around the barracks or around the company footprint or around the battalion footprint and see if and maybe go check on the your weapon, your armory.
Yeah, like you've stood duty before. If you were in as long as it seems like you might have been in, then you stood staff duty before. You've checked out a weapon. You know how these things can be designed and made and licensed and set up. Like, it's not like I said before, it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
People do it all the time, all over the place. There's security. There are private security forces that do stuff like this all the time.
Sandbag placements on the roof. I don't see the sandbag emplacements on the local liquor store or on any sort of bank downtown. You know why there's no sandbags?
There's no sandbag placements here.
There's no reason, for one, because we're not expecting an imminent threat every single time that we come in here. Number 2, obviously it has to be appealing to the customer or student.
Right, and the biggest thing is he's making a lot of assumptions based on the fact that he thinks folks who are pro-gun are dumb. He's asking these questions operating under that preconceived notion that veterans that are pro-gun are dumb and that folks who are pro-2A are dumb.
Yeah.
And that's how he's operating, because how else do you ask questions like this unless you honestly don't know Whereas then I would question your ability as a soldier, airman, Marine, or whatever you were. But
I don't know. To me, it kind of seems like he's just fumbling in the dark with just kind of coming up with questions. I don't know why. I mean, all you got to do is think about it for a couple of minutes, and you could figure out a basic layout of how it would work.
Right.
And the only difference is, like, okay, let's just put these. You got veterans here who are willing to do the job, and you got security over here that will be willing to do the job if you hire them to do it.
Right. Right.
They're the control systems are going to be the same. Maybe the security system has their own private firm, but they have their own SOPs. They have this. They have a reporting structure. They have an office. They don't have sandbags because they don't need sandbags. But the veterans are just going to be, if it was a volunteer force, it'd be volunteer force. But it'd be the same general structure, and maybe with those allocated funds, you hire a private firm to manage the whole thing. I don't know.
Right. So it's not like what you said earlier. It's not like it's going to be just a handful of veterans.
Yeah,
wearing,
go home,
wearing their camis that they served in.
Their BDUs and their ripped up boots and their K-bar on their side.
ACUs.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about ACUs later. But
why did the Army do that?
Because they hate their soldiers. It was a waste of money. We can get into that later. But yeah, no, it's not like they're just going to go home and pull out their, M16 from Vietnam and march on down to the local John F. Kennedy High School and post up guard in the hallway. It's
not going to be Clint Eastwood with his M1 Garand screaming at a chair in the high school. You know what I mean?
Right. It would be professional. It would be, and maybe you get, that biker guy, what's his name?
Mickey Knuckles. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and he looks, he's a big biker dude, so he's a little scary looking, right? Or, I mean, maybe not scary looking, but he's, intimidating.
He's kind of scary looking.
Okay, fine.
He would admit
scary
that.
looking. So maybe that's enough in and of itself to scare off some little, angry at the world kid who's about ready to walk in and start shooting up other poor kids.
Right.
Maybe.
It's like if it was really about saving kids, then why are you so zoned in and unwilling to allow any kind of solution?
Yeah, what's the other solution?
If it's about solutions, then allow a solution.
Here's the other solution. Without guns, no schools are allowed to have windows. Every school student must have an electronic tag so that they can get into the building. There will be security cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
There will be no windows, like I said before, so that you can't have any sort of weird points of access of entry. There will be only one point of entry, and all other emergency exits will be locked until needed to be utilized in the event of an emergency exit, such as fire or whatever.
Yeah, so it
becomes this very...
It's protect it or turn it into a concrete box.
Exactly. It's another prison. So you either get the same school that you have now with armed guards, or you turn it into a maximum security school with no guns, but only certain individuals can get in, and it's a multi-tiered step to get into the building. Where you got to be checked in. This gate can only open if that gate's closed.
Right.
That's the other option.
Yeah.
Or we leave it the way it is, and it continues to be the way it is.
Or they pass whatever gun stuff they're going to pass and take everybody's firearms.
It doesn't matter because it's going to go away, and then you're still going to have the criminals. I mean, like I said, it doesn't solve anything. You're still going to have, I'm assuming that if, let's just say guns got outlawed, that the police forces, or maybe it would turn into the UK, I don't know, but the police forces would be the only ones to have guns, and the criminals are the only ones that are going to have guns. So it's the same thing.
Right. Oh, speaking of the government having guns and the whole gun debate thing, there was this lady who, this is kind of going to be a little bit of a comic relief. She was basically saying, like, what are you going to do? What are a bunch of normal human beings going to do against the US military if they come to take your guns? Like, what are you going to do? And so this is this video.
The other argument that I hear a lot is that, these people want these guns to protect themselves against the U.S. government. Sir, what The U.S. government has tanks and drones and a nuclear arsenal. What do you think you're going to do with your gun that shoots fast? You are being goofy. That is a goofy argument. Just admit that you want your fancy gun because it makes you feel like a manly man.
You know what's a goofy argument? Or what's goofy is that we spent the last 25 years in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Fighting guys that weren't an organized group by any stretch of the imagination.
With guns. And they didn't have nuclear weapons or anything. So what she's saying is that they're gonna use tanks and nuclear weapons against a guy down the street who doesn't want to give up his AR, so they're gonna nuke the block.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, it's like
really?
If that was a good tactic, then Russia would have nuked Ukraine by now.
Oh, we would have nuked Iraq and Afghanistan and glassed the whole place in 2003.
Right.
I mean, it's just not. It's
not how the military works. One.
Yeah.
If they want a resource or land.
First of all, I don't think they can even be utilized in that type of aspect in this country anyway under the current laws.
Right, and I don't even know that the current military has what it takes to do that now, even.
Also, all you got to do is wait for it to break down. The
right.
tanks, the planes, they all break down. You know how many breakdowns I had when I was in the military?
A lot, and because we had a lot too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I
broke down. Okay, so I had a truck that I was driving on mission outside the wire in a hostile area. And I've had several breakdowns with my truck.
And
engine stall type of breakdowns.
Yeah, breakdowns happen. Machine failures happen. I mean, if we had as hard a time getting parts overseas as we did, imagine fighting on our own soil and how hard it is gonna be to get parts here. You know, because we had a hard enough time already when the parts bay was just down the road from the hangar.
Yeah.
So
and there's Wolverines.
Yeah. Wolverines. Red Dawn, Part 5.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is, like, people forget that all those old fogies that taught all the people that are in the military how to do what they do now, that taught them all of what they know, those folks aren't in the military anymore. They're not dead either.
Mm.
And there's more of them than there are of those in the military.
There are, yeah.
And they didn't just leave the military
and then just
die. All their training and their brain fell out their butt one day, and they just don't have any of that anymore.
Yeah.
Like how many veterans do you know that are just like kitted out?
Quite a few. Quite a few.
I would argue nearly all of them that I know.
Yeah, there's a few that
even my old master guns.
Yeah, no, there's a few that I know that aren't really into that whole type of thing, but yes, quite a few of them are, and it depends on what state they're in as well. But yeah. But we got to move on.
Yep.
The last thing I think we're going to talk about today is something strange.
Yes.
Very strange indeed.
Extremely strange.
So Bud Light, the beer company, not so good beer, very cheap quality, has partnered with Dylan Mulvaney.
Oh boy.
And they did that, I guess, as a partnership for March Madness, sports, etc.
Oh, it's the pairing of the ages, like wine and cheese.
But they're also doing it to like celebrate Dylan Mulvaney's, quote, 365 days of girlhood, unquote.
Yes.
And so this is a little short from Dylan, and we'll listen to this.
Hi. Impressive carrying skills, right? I got some Bud Lights for us. So, I kept hearing about this thing called March Madness, and I thought we were all just having a hectic month, but it turns out it has something to do with sports. And I'm not sure exactly which sport, but either way, it's a cause to celebrate. This month, I celebrated my day 365 of womanhood, and Bud Light sent me possibly the best gift ever, a can with my face on it. Check out my Instagram story to see how you can enjoy March Madness with Bud Light and maybe win some money too. Love ya! Cheers! Go team! Whatever team you love, I love too. Okay. Love ya. Okay.
I just don't understand why they thought that was a good idea. Like, it's not like, unless Bud Light is subliminally sending a message being like, yeah, we know our beer is terrible and let's put your face on it.
Yeah. I mean, if that's the route they're going, they didn't set the joke up very well. If that was the joke they're trying to make.
The New York Post says, this is the headline from the New York Post, Bud Light partners with trans activist Dylan Mulvaney for March Madness. This isn't a parody.
Yeah.
It goes on to say, trans TikTok star Dylan Mulvaney was announced as the latest spokesperson for Bud Light in a pair of videos that were attacked on social media. The trans activist revealed on Saturday that the beer company sent packs of Bud Light featuring the influencer's face as a way to celebrate the, quote, 365 days of girlhood, unquote, milestone Mulvaney recently reached. Happy March Madness. Just found out this had to do with sports and not just saying it's a crazy month. And I go on to basically say whatever that was on a Instagram post. Another video featured Mulvaney in a bathtub drinking a Bud Light beer as part of the campaign. And I saw that video too. It was like a bubble bath. It was very awkward.
Yeah,
to say the least.
Him in a bikini bubble bath.
It wasn't good.
Yeah.
The announcement was met with backlash, with Twitter users describing the ad campaign as another attempt to push gender propaganda, which it is. Conservative commenter John Cardillo wrote, "Who the hell at Bud Light thought it was a good idea to make a grown man who dresses like little girls their new spokesperson? Brands have to stop listening to their woke creative teams and get in touch with their consumer demographics."
Yep.
I mean, yeah, so, and then, quote, "might genuinely be the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life," unquote, The Spectator contributing editor Stephen Miller remarked. And I'm in agreement with him. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, that's probably one of the most unexpected pairings I've seen in a while.
Like, I just don't see that being a match made in that, like, I never, ever, ever would have associated Dylan Mulvaney and Bud Light, or any sort of beer for that matter, but especially Bud Light.
Yeah, it would have been one thing if it was like Dylan Mulvaney and,
I don't know, Grey Goose vodka
or Yellowtail wines,
something
like
that. I don't know,
or like barefoot wine.
Yeah, barefoot bubbly, whatever it is that,
or even some kind of
fruity drink,
champagne, or something. Yeah, but. And is Bud Light Anheuser-Busch?
Yes. It's
they're the parent company.
It's Budweiser light beer. It's Bud Light.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even drink that beer. I haven't had a Bud Light, I don't know, 8 years.
Yeah, I don't.
Conservative radio host Eric Erickson wrote, quote, "Is the Bud Light thing an April Fool's joke? I mean, it's trash beer, but given the constituent demo of Bud Light drinkers, it seems like a terrible marketing thing," unquote.
Right.
And it is. It's horrible. Like, yeah. I don't understand.
Yeah, the folks that decided that this was a great decision all need to be fired. That's as simple as it is.
For sure. It's going to hurt their sales. I mean, just as from the standpoint of a company.
Yeah, and then you've had other people coming out against it. You know, Kid Rock just shooting up a whole bunch of Bud Light.
He'll probably never buy Bud Light again. I mean, I'm not a Kid Rock fan, but I can't blame the guy, but he'll probably never buy Bud Light again unless they publicly apologize.
Yeah, it's like the only people that drink Bud Light have some kind of, you know, like, oh, it brings me back to my old days as a teenager.
I was in high school and I brought my dad's pickup truck out to the lake and
had
my girlfriend and we jacked some Bud Lights from his fridge and
yeah. That demographic aren't really into the whole trans thing.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it, it's a redneck beer. I mean,
right.
And also, to me, Bud Light only serves one purpose. It's not for taste. It's to get you drunk.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a cheap
way to get plastered.
Yeah, that's why.
That's almost its sole purpose.
Yeah. Not only was it just a horrible thing for that reason, for the known reasons, now it's just even worse. So.
Yeah.
Oh, this world never ceases to just throw in one more curve, one more thing to make you just go, what?
Yeah. Who's Coors Light going to partner with?
I don't know.
We should speculate on that for a minute.
Oh. Who's the one that has that show? Oh, he has that show. He's going to partner with... Who's got the drag queen show? Gosh.
What, RuPaul?
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, is going to partner with RuPaul.
Ugh. I don't know. But all we both know.
And then Shaquille O'Neal Sodas is going to partner with Magic Johnson's son.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
What's happening? I'm so confused and scared. But anyway, I mean, all we know is that it's in God's hands, you know? I mean, that's, at the end of the day, I mean, God's not surprised by anything. So, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just one of those things. You know, we can, you know, the Bud Light thing doesn't really, you know, it's just a weird thing that's going on, but it really has no bearing on real life.
Yeah, it doesn't. And it's just one of those things that is another sign to us as believers it's another sign to be aware of what's going on. It's another sign of obvious things. It's an obvious direction that the world is going. And it's just a signal to us to keep ourselves straight, to be right with God. If we have any unconfessed sin, to go to God and confess it, and just, get back in community with him. If you ever profess to be a believer, if you haven't ever professed to be a believer, to start now, because you're seeing battle lines become more obvious, is what you're seeing.
Yeah, for sure.
So there isn't very much longer where you're going to be able to just sit on a fence. Not very much longer you're going to be able to be Tim Pool and be that milquetoast fence sitter that he always says he is. But yes. Yeah. So you have to make a choice. People have to buckle down. Parents need to buckle down. I mean, we had that discussion.
Yeah.
In the last podcast. So. Right. But yeah.
Well, we are appreciative of you listening. We're gonna try and get some more episodes out more often than we do. It's just difficult, like I said.
Yeah. It's a really, really busy season right now.
Yes, especially with Easter coming up.
Yeah. So everyone's putting in a lot of extra hours, working towards vacation time, and so hoping to do it.
Well, until next time, God bless
America.
Go and tell that long-tongued liar. Go and tell that midnight rider. Tell the rambler, the gambler, the backbiter. Tell him that God's gonna cut him down. Tell him that God's gonna cut him down. Well, my goodness gracious, let me tell you the news. My head's been wet with the midnight dew. I've been down on bended knee, talking to the man from Galilee. He spoke to me in a voice so sweet, I thought I heard the shuffle of angels' feet. He called my name when my heart stood still, when he said, man, go do my will.